Hello and welcome. Welcome to our Bringing It Home package. I'd like to share with you today a look through the kitchen store cupboard. There might be some things that you need to get rid of, there might be some unfamiliar products that you need to bring in, there might be a little bit of tweaking. So I've got some of our kitchen staples out here to show you, and you might not be able to see, but they're actually split into 4 different groups. We've got a salty group, a sour group, a sweet group, and a fatty or oily group. And the reason that I've split them like that is that we call these 4 groups the 4 legs of the table, or the 4 corners of the table, and they're really useful to know about. Most recipes that taste really good have something from each of one of these groups, so that can help you to create and invent your own recipes. And also, if you're using a recipe that calls for an ingredient that you don't have, you can substitute another ingredient from the same group. So using that makes it much easier to follow recipes without having to go out and buy everything from scratch. So I'm going to start by looking at the salty group. So first of all, we've just got salt, as we all know it. And this is a Celtic sea salt, which is quite a grey salt. It's a really nice one to look for. You might have to go to a health shop to find this. It's really strong in flavour, so you don't need very much. The other one that I use is Himalayan rock salt, which is the pink one. That's got a much more subtle flavour, so it's good in more delicate recipes or also in puddings. The one that you want to avoid is bog standard table salt, which basically is bleached and stripped of all its minerals in the processing of it, so you don't want to use that one. There's some other great salty ingredients to experiment with though. My favourite's probably this one, tamari. So tamari basically tastes like soy sauce, but it's wheat free, and this is a nice organic one. So you can use that in all the places where you might use soy sauce, but without the problems of a wheat content. And then this is another really fantastic salty product, miso. Miso is a fermented product that's made from soybeans and a grain. So in this case rice, sometimes it's chickpeas or barley. And so it's interesting to note that those soybeans and grains are both things that are usually very difficult for the human body to digest, and we normally recommend that you cut them out of your diet. So why are we recommending miso? Well, basically the culture that has fermented this product has digested those difficult aspects for you, and now you've got a product that's full of probiotics that's going to really help to maintain your healthy gut flora. So this one's a brilliant one to use. You can just put it in warm water, a teaspoon, and make it into a kind of broth, and then you can throw some chopped vegetables in on top. You can also use it in raw sauces and dressings. Yeah, yummy. So that's the salty group. Then we got the sour group. Basically any citrus fruit will do that job. Lemons, limes, oranges, and also vinegars. And this is where you might need to do a bit of swapping in your store cupboard. So the vinegars that are more commonly used, wine vinegars and malt vinegars, they have a very acidifying effect on your body. So you want to get rid of those. But this one, apple cider vinegar, has an alkalizing effect on the blood, and it's a probiotic, it's a health product. You want to look for one, get organic where you can, and you want to look for one that that says with the mother, or where you can see the culture, which would be like some cloudy stuff floating at the bottom, so you know it's live and probiotic. Some people take just a teaspoon of that a day in water for its alkalizing benefits. And that's the one that I use in my salad dressings and in recipes. And again, if the recipe calls for lemon juice and I don't have a lemon, I'll use a bit of vinegar instead. And then we come to sweet. So in a lot of raw recipes or health recipes, dried fruit is used as the sweetener. We've got some dates, it could be raisins. We've also put sun-dried tomatoes in this category because they lend a lot of sweetness to savoury recipes, and they're salty as well. So a lot of these things are in more than one group. Then we come to the actual sugars. So usually use maple syrup, which although it is a form of refined sugar, it hasn't been messed around with too much. It's just come out of a tree. It does have some useful minerals in it. And the same with organic honey, ideally raw local honey. You probably need to go to a health shop or a farmer's market to find that. And again, yes, it's very sweet, but it does have lots of health benefits as well. You can also cut down on the amount of sugars that you're using in recipes by using things which are naturally sweet but very low on the glycemic index. So lucuma, superfood powder made from South American fruits, that's great for using in sweet recipes because it adds a sweetness without high glycemic index. You can also use things like mint extract and orange extract, which will make things taste sweeter than they really are. If you're in a situation where you need to be really careful with sugars, for instance, if you're on an anti-candida diet, then you're going to avoid all of these. But you can use some replacements like stevia, which comes in powder or drops, and that's made from a leaf. It's extremely sweet, so you only need a very small amount of it, but it's got 0 sugar or calorie content. So that's a good one to experiment with. And then we come on to fats. So it's really, really important to get fats in your diet, but they need to be the right fats. So you're going to be definitely getting rid of hydrogenated vegetable oils, margarine and things like that, and these are the healthy fats that you want to bring in. So extra virgin olive oil, organic, that one's a nice basic oil that doesn't taste too strong. It's useful for recipes. Then oils with a higher omega-3 content, hemp oil, got some flax down here, pumpkin. When you're making dressings, it's really great to rotate which oils you use. So each time you go, and again you probably need to go to the health shop to buy these, buy a different one so that you're not getting the same fats the whole time. And then coconut oil, coconut fat, coconut butter. There's 2 that I use. This one is a nice organic raw one, and that's really brilliant for putting in smoothies and desserts and things like that. Coconut's also the only oil that we recommend cooking with. So if you're going to saute vegetables or you're going to do roasties in the oven, coconut oil is the best oil to use, but there's no point in using a really expensive raw oil for that one. So we get a cheaper coconut oil for cooking with. And the reason why we only use that one is it's the most stable oil at high temperatures. So whereas the others will change into something the body can't really recognise, this one stays stable for a lot longer. And what else have we got in the fats department? Tahini. Well, actually all nuts and seeds will be the oily fatty part of a recipe, and tahini is just sesame seeds that have been ground up, but it's a really delicious creamy ingredient for making dressings especially, and it's got a fantastic mineral content, vitamin content, and calcium is one of the things that this is really useful for, in a form that your body can digest, unlike the calcium in milk products. And lastly, and possibly the favourite fat in our family, is the good old avocado, which we use in smoothies, salads, guacamole, and even